Alrighty then. It's now time to continue this team, break down this team. And now we'll go to October the 5th, the weekend before OU Texas. And this is kind of a trap game. You got to be careful, very, very careful here. TCU comes to Norman, a team that has been known to win their fair share of conference titles under head coach Gary Patterson, who's still there. Last year, Patterson took the record of 7-6 to TCU, 4-5 in the Big 12 Conference, tying them for third with Tech, West Virginia, and Baylor. With a 7-6 record, 7 wins, they got to a bowl, losing to Michigan State in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, which a couple of years ago was the Independence Bowl that Oklahoma went to. This year, the Big 12 school was Oklahoma. The Big 10 school was Michigan. TCU lost this game 17-16 in the latter seconds of this game. Offensively, players that will be missed in this thing. Josh Boyce was such an incredible player for them last year. He had 66 catches, 891 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 94 was his career long from last year. Defensively, Kenny Kane, KC, had 86 total tackles, 2 interceptions, and 0 forced fumbles, and 0 recovered fumbles. Last year, the Horned Frogs averaged 28.3 points per ball game in their wins and losses. TCU OU history, 12 career times these two teams have met. 8-4 overall, 1-0 in conference games, last year being the first. They've actually won the last 2 times, or they won last time they were in Norman. 2 times ago they were in Norman was Bomar's freshman year, and that was a TCU win in Norman. That loss was the first in non-conference action. They later had a non-conference action loss to Notre Dame, as we all know. Last year, their quarterback situation was good. They have a returner, Casey Paha. He's supposed to be the returning quarterback from 2 years ago. Helped them win that Rose Bowl so many years ago. Was pulled over with NCAA regulations, drugs I believe it was, but still a good quarterback. Supposed to have done everything that he was supposed to do. He's back on track now. 2 years ago, when he played in 2011, he had 2,921 yards passing, 25 touches, 75 yard pass was his longest. But with Paha being ineligible, they then had to rework the offense, and they had to find another quarterback to run the offense. That quarterback also passed for quite a few yards last time around. That was Trevon Boykin. He passed for 2,054 total yards, 15 touches, and 94 was his career long. Leading rushers returning from this team, the former quarterback, the current / former quarterback, whatever you want to call him, Trevon Boykin. He had 127 attempts on 417 yards, 3 touchdowns. 42 was his career long on a rush. And also B.J. Colton, a $123 carries, 582 yards. But he did have 0 touchdowns, but a career long last year of 46 yards. Wide receivers coming back that are eligible, like Brandon Carter. He had 36 attempts for catches last year, 590 total yards, 6 touches. 80 was his TCU long last year. And the Darius Brown, 27 catches, 385 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 60 was his long. And finally, defensively for this team, Joel Hasley had 79 total tackles last year, 0 picks, 0 forced fumbles, and 0 fumble recoveries. Also, Elijah Alabold had 71 total tackles. He had 4 picks, 2 fumbles, forced fumbles, I should say, and 0 fumble recoveries. This game right here is one to worry about. Because you don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be. Both of these guys have, as I said, they've passed for quite a few yards. If Paha isn't quite comfortable this early quite yet, they can always give the ball to Trevon Boykin. Or they can let Trevon Boykin run the offense and let B.J. Colton run the offense, who had 582 yards last year on the ground. So you could do it either way, either or. The receivers are good. The defense is going to get better. Their defense is kind of an awkward scheme that you usually don't see here in the Big 12. And that's what kind of makes it a little hard to prepare for, to be honest with you. Oklahoma's going to have to prepare for it. They're going to have to punch it hard. They're going to have to hit them hard. And they're going to have to play well in this game, in a potential trap game after Notre Dame, but before the dreaded Longhorns of Texas in Dallas. By the way, I'm going to that game this year. I am super pumped. I'm super excited. I have everything planned. All I'm waiting for now is just the tickets to get in. I have my travel reservations. I have my hotel ticket booked. I'm just waiting for this thing to get started. I can't wait for my first trip to OU, Texas this season. For the TCU breakdown, we'll break down Texas next week. That will be the second weekend in October, October the 11th, 2013. We'll break that one down next. It's going to be the dreaded Cotton Bowl with those hated Longhorns. But as far as the TCU one, like I said, you've got to be careful here. Sooner fans, you've got to be careful. Trap game, trap game, trap game. If there was a potential trap game, this would be it. A team that can get better than 7 wins. All they had was 7 wins. They were 7-6 last year, but they did go in there and they played very hard. They could have been 8-5. Would that be right? Yeah, 8-5 with a win against Texas Tech, and could have easily been 9-4. They were in that game against Oklahoma. That was in TCU. So you've got to be ready. You've got to be able, and you've got to be ready to hit this team in the mouth. And the fans have to be ready. The fans have to be jacked. And you've got to be ready to rock and roll. You can't let this game slip through your fingers. If you do, basically season's over if you do. We all know what happens with one loss last year. Everybody was all upset that Oklahoma still won the Big 12. So you can't let it happen, guys. Can't let it happen. This has been Harry James Taylor, Boomer Sooner 1982.